Let's remember that Trump is a real estate developer at heart, and that's how he thinks, and it's how Jared Kushner thinks as well, that they see this beachfront property. It sounds completely absurd to say it, but it's maybe there for development. So there's always that possibility.
Welcome to The Debrief, where we talk with the Washington Examiner's top journalists about the headlines they're covering and where the story's going next. I'm Sarah Bedford, and I'm here with managing editor Chris Irvine.
Hey.
And Chris, this week, among many things, Donald Trump came out and suggested that perhaps the U.S. should take over the Gaza Strip and turn it into the Riviera of the Middle East. Is this a serious proposal? I mean, what do you think this foreign policy proposal was meant to accomplish?
Well, first off, welcome back. It's great to have you
Thank
back. Look, I think with Gaza, with Trump, you never fully know where his head's at. And I think it's designed to be a talking point, isn't it? We wrote a story earlier this week where the sort of Michael Waltz of the NSA and you know, armchair generals and stuff have said that they think it's more of a kind of negotiating ploy to get other Middle Eastern countries to step up and come up with a solution. I think that's a feasible idea, but I also do think, let's remember that Trump is a real estate developer at heart, and that's how he thinks, and it's how Jared Kushner thinks as well, that they see this beachfront property. It sounds completely absurd to say it, but it's maybe there for development. So there's always that possibility. I think there's he makes a very real point, and he's repeatedly said it, as has Witkoff and you know the guys that are in charge of that region, that Gaza is a demolition site. There's no qualms about that. There's been a devastating war for 15, 16 months, and you can get into everything that's kind of transpired with that. So Gaza certainly needs rebuilding. And so what are you going to do there? You're going to have the displaced Palestinians stay there while they're doing that? That doesn't seem very humane to me. Jordan and Egypt have said that they're not willing to take them on. That's been a long, ongoing issue. Trump has said repeatedly, no, you are going to take them. And there's a little bit of a game of chicken there going on. I think really interestingly, after Trump suspended the aid of every country, bar two, it was Israel and it was Egypt. Could Trump say, hey, Egypt, I'm going to turn the taps off to you, and use that as a bargaining chip? I think we're getting the King of Jordan coming into the US in the coming days. That will certainly be a topic of conversation. I honestly, I would not rule anything out with Trump. It's fascinating to watch. Your initial reaction is, oh my God, this is bananas. How can we possibly do this? And then the more you think about it, you're like, well, actually, maybe.
It's on the water.
You never know.
It's pretty.
Yeah.
Good weather.
Yeah, great beaches, I'm sure.
That's right.
But it sounds totally perverse to say it at the same time.
Trump was not done surprising people on the foreign policy front. This week he also said, great news, American trips, you can go through the canal, the Panama Canal for free. And the Panama Canal, that was apparently news to them.
That is apparently news to them. Again, he's done this a few times now, and again, we should never be surprised what comes from this administration, that they always seem to kind of be pushing the envelope. Go back to talking about, Egypt and Jordan are going to take the refugees, and they go, well, hang on, we're not. And it's all designed to get people to the negotiating table, so even if he doesn't get everything that he said that he wants, then they'll say, well, we can't possibly do that, but why don't you do this? So Trump can go, done, mission accomplished, declare victory. Everybody falls into the trap. We saw it with the tariffs with Canada and Mexico. We're seeing it with Panama now. It's a tactic that is very successful for him.
There's been a lot said about Trump's foreign policy so far, right? Some critics say it's expansionist. He wants to take over Greenland now. He wants to take over Gaza. Some have said it's isolationist. He's pulling out of climate accords and international agreements and groups. What if you had to describe what we're seeing on the foreign policy front with Trump, what would you say it is?
Sure. I don't think it's isolationist. I do think that that's a bit of a red herring there. But it is all designed to kind of improve the standing at home domestically. If you look at Greenland, why does he want Greenland? He probably wants it so he can have access to the rare earth minerals that are there, and that will help with energy. It will also help on a security front. It's in a kind of strategically important place in the Arctic that we don't want the Russians and the Chinese to have more influence there. Why does he want Panama? Because he's upset that the Chinese are calling the shots there. And again, that kind of goes back to, if you secure America on the global stage, then everything's going to be easier at home. Canada, I assume, is just about negotiating, getting prices down, and the border, obviously, and drugs, getting that down. Again, domestic issue, but of a sort of grand global scale. Likewise, Mexico with the illegal immigrants coming in, putting pressure on the domestic economy. So it's you can't kind of say it's isolationist when you have to go and project this strength in the world, and it brings you back to being secure and stable at home.
Well, Chris, thank you so much for being here today.
Yep.
You can get more reporting from Chris and the rest of the political team at washingtonexaminer.com.